Hey, I'm Jeff with Expedition Essentials, and I am the owner and founder and product designer here at Expedition Essentials. And today I'm going to walk you all through putting together one of our recovery board quick mounts for Maxtrax. This one's a 2-board version, and it's a technical process, but I'm going to walk you through every step. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we've got one of our side captures here, and this is the fixed side, so it gets these 2 feet here, and a couple 1/4-20 stainless bolts, a little bit of thread lube on there because stainless bolts like to gall against stainless nuts, so we always put thread lube on there so they go on nice and smooth, and we're not having stripped hardware, which is a huge pain when you have to drill those off. So necessary steps for sure. So this is the first part of the puzzle of building one of these mounts. The way they assemble is you have to do everything in steps, because if you miss a step, you won't be able to assemble it. They all have a strategic placement in the assembly, which when it's fully assembled makes it nearly impossible to take them apart when they are assembled and when boards are mounted. So everything has a reason, and all this hardware you see now, which is accessible, is totally covered up when it's all put together. So if you miss a step and have to go back, it's kind of frustrating, and a new person assembling one of these, and if they didn't know what they were doing, would definitely have a hell of a time doing this. So I've done pretty much all of them, so I'm pretty good at it, but I wouldn't wish this on a new person at all. So it's really not hard, not difficult, just technical, and you kind of have to know the order everything goes together. After those 2 side arms are on, we've got our tab for our padlock, which goes on there next from the inside. Same thing, put some thread lube on there. Very important part of the process. As some of you have probably found out in the past, when your stainless nuts gall up and you have to cut them off with a cutting wheel, and then yeah, it's never fun. We don't tighten this all the way up until the end when we have everything assembled and the handles adjusted, but we just run it down till it's almost tight. That way we're not having to go through all those steps. And that one's done. Next thing we're going to do, we'll move to the pivoting side of the capture, which has these the steps already done with the rubber feet and the bearings already installed. We're going to go ahead and install them in the capture now. Sometime, because of the tolerance on these, the side bearings require to be pressed in. I do that with a pair of smooth jaw channel locks and squeeze the bearing in place. And there's one side, now onto the other. All right, after those feet are on, we go ahead and install our basically these are our pivots right here. So they're 2-piece. They get a large 5/16 stainless bolt, flat washers. And this is what hinges. This is what pivots on the whole assembly. So we use larger hardware here, and stainless nylock nut. Seeing a theme here. Stainless, it's good. Very important for reducing corrosion and rusting, which leads to frustration. So longevity is important. There we go, there's the pivot side done. All right, so now that those 2 are done, we're gonna go ahead and rivet on our handles, which this is the side that would lock. You can see there, that's where the lock goes. And we use stainless pop rivets for this. There we go, there's one side done. Move on to your pivot side, same thing, it's the handle parts installed. So the pivot captures on these are steel for strength. The handles are thicker aluminum, equally as strong, just lighter to save weight. Everything's powder coated for corrosion protection. The steel parts, the black parts are BK110, which is a textured black matte finish, and the handles are kind of a high-vis red because we want those high-vis. So if you're in adverse conditions using this product, and the red kind of stands out better than it all being black or color matched to your truck. You know, these are not really an aesthetic piece. They are meant to be high-vis red for a reason. We've got all our parts ready to go. Final assembly time. So we're gonna go ahead, take our 1/4" aluminum base plate, and we're gonna start with the fixed side right here. That gets attached to the base plate with 8 countersunk stainless screws. First screw holds it in place. Put the rest of the screws in. Sometimes they require a little alignment with a tool. It's just part of the assembly process. It's nice having these flat countersunk screws on the bottom, because when you have it mounted, you can't access any of the mounting hardware. If someone were to try to remove this with your boards installed and mounted to your vehicle, it'd be pretty impossible unless they were Davey Copperfield or something like that. Same thing as the other side. We'll put in a couple screws, secure it in place, and then flip it over. Final step. Thread locker. Line it up and install the screw, and we'll flip it over. It is overbuilt. It is very well engineered and works fantastic for the job that it's designed to do. So we have a 2-board version of this guy, 4-board version. We plan to come out with the Maxtrax Extreme version soon, and also for the Maxtrax Minis, which we've have had quite a few requests for. So definitely on our short list. And install our handles, which again are aluminum, 1/4" thick aluminum plate with a center bar. We use barrel nuts, which, if you're not familiar with barrel nuts, they are internally threaded. You can see here with a round head. So they use a security screw when you install them with the Loctite. You really can't get them back apart, which keeps someone from coming up and take your handle apart to get your boards out of the mount, which keeps the honest people honest. A little bit of Loctite on that screw. Right now we just loosely put them in so we can make our adjustments after it's together. Push it together, line everything up. Install our barrel nuts. And our final 2 screws. Push together, make sure that this side of the foot has 2 tabs basically that rest in here. So when that's in there and locked, you can't pull it back and forth to try to pry it off. And it's also has a gate here to keep someone from basically sticking a screwdriver under here and lifting. It works awesome. It's also another security feature on this mount. Once that's all tight, just check to make sure it goes on the tabs engaged correctly. That looks good. And we'll go ahead and put in our lock. This lock is a compression lock, which uses a rotating motion to basically squeeze the mount and close it. They work awesome. We use them for our propane mounts as well, and they're just an outstanding component that we use in some of our products. And we close it, check for proper lock operation, make sure it's adjusted properly, and lock it one final time, close the dust cover. And the final step, well, exactly not the final, second to last step, we go ahead and tighten up the tab for the padlock. Final step, Expedition Essentials data plate, can't forget that. These are screen printed aluminum, kind of a nice touch we put in our products. Kind of hails back to my aviation days when everything I touched had a data plate, so that's where that comes from. That's the influence there. And that's it. That's Expedition Essentials recovery board quick mount put together here right now, right in front of you guys, and that's all the steps involved, and happy to show it to you. All right, so now that you've seen the assembly, we brought you out here to a flagship Expedition Essentials camper build that we're just working on now. So I've got a 4-board mount on here. I'm gonna show you how it works real quick. Open it up, take your 4 boards, basically just set it in the feet, push it up, close it, and lock it. And there you go, it's that easy. Recovery board quick mount, Expedition Essentials.